Billionaire thoughts, billionaire dreams. I know niggas who played ball and gave it up for lean.
Millionaire thoughts, billionaire dreams, but my account in overdraft, I'm about to scream.
Rich man greed,
A poor man prayers,
every man bleeds.
but look how God made us.
Too many losses, it's only right that we win. Yeah, I made a promise I'm never gonna lose again.
Under the Fair Use Act, these videos are for information and educational purposes, and I do not own the rights to any of these videos that are shown. All rights reserved to the original content creators.
Yo, what's going on? It's your boy SL550, and this is the Never Gonna Lose Again podcast. Before we start, make sure you like, share, comment, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button, because it costs you nothing. And I appreciate everybody. Yo, boy got about like 12 subscribers the last 2 days, man. I really appreciate it. Love is definitely, without y'all, I ain't got no channel, man. So thanks for helping me build it up. And also hit that notification bell so you get notified every time your boy go live. So today we're going to talk about Brandon Johnson and how he just ruined Chicago, man. And this is pretty much like the same playbook from a lot of these Democrats, politicians pretty much across the board, figuring out ways to tax Americans like we're not taxed enough. I mean, it's actually ridiculous how much Americans get taxed. I mean, hey man, pretty much don't own nothing. You buy a car. Doesn't matter if you finance it, buy it cash. If you don't get that insurance on it, that's a tax. If you don't get it registered, that's a tax. Get the tags on it, it's a tax. You go buy food, you get taxed. You buy a home, you get taxed. And it's like every which way you turn, we get taxed. You know, you got the average American out here working very hard just to see a small portion of the check that's just getting them by, man. It's actually ridiculous. And this is why I say that I fuck with Trump, you know, to a degree, because I know everybody has their, you know, input on tariffs. I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm a guru on economics, because I'm not. But from just like a layman's perspective, it just looks like he's trying to open up their markets, do fair trade, and make it to where America is profitable off other countries putting goods in our country, and vice versa, because they tax us too. So, and he's basically, what it looks like from my standpoint is, if all goes well with tariffs, then a lot of these taxes that we're getting taxed on can be eliminated. And we can end up ultimately paying just one tax. Like why do we got to get taxed for everything? It's actually insane, bro. And then we're gonna tap in with Brandon Lee with that one. Then we're gonna go to Brian Maxwell. He's gonna talk about Gavin Newsom, another Democrat ruining his state, and I'm talking about he is ruining California. I never been to California, but I heard it's beautiful. I have family that moved out there like 15 years ago. They stayed and never came back. Even with all the stuff that's going on now, they still out there. So it's obviously, it's got its benefits for sure. But from what I've been hearing, bro, it's absolutely crazy in California, bro. Just, it's all about the money, man. Them just taking our money, just blowing it on any and everything they can so they can do some backdoor deal to put money in their pockets, bro. We're going to go over that with Brian Maxwell. And actually, we're going to go over that last. Before that, we're going to tap in with Matt Morris going on about Trump giving farmers $12 billion from, allegedly it's from tariff money. That's what Trump said. He said he's taking $12 billion from the money that he's received from tariffs and giving it to farmers. I guess farmers been taking a big hit, and he's, you know, obviously farmers are a big, you know, farmers are very important. So, you know, he's trying to make sure the farmers are good. So let's get to this first story with Brandon Johnson going over what's going on in Chicago with Brandon Johnson. Bro.
Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson literally broke down in tears crying after being humiliated by his own party. Brandon Johnson is now so unpopular after raising property taxes by 100% that even the Democrat city council members have officially turned on him. As always, like the video and subscribe to the channel. This is an amazing one, but let's start with the literal mayor of Chicago crying in public.
Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson shedding some crocodile tears today after his beloved corporate head tax proposal got nixed from the city council's alternative budget proposal.
There are lines of Chicagoans right now of people who do not have food, you guys. And if you've never gone hungry, you wouldn't know why I have that urgency.
Yeah.
If you've never opened up your refrigerator and there's nothing in it.
This is crazy.
Poverty sucks.
Bro. Why he acting like he living in poverty? Yo, Brandon Johnson is a fool, bro. This dude is crazy, bro. And listen, this is the part that I think I mean, I know a lot of people understand because I've seen multiple videos. I've actually played videos of residents from Chicago literally cursing this dude out, coming at his shit, talking about all the taxes that he's, you know, put on the people. And he's going to go over it in this video. I'm not sure if it's in this video or not. Yeah, in this video, he's going to go over how he keeps saying how they always say how they're going to tax the rich. They're going to tax the millionaires and the billionaires. It's a talking point. It's a talking point because they know that the millionaire and billionaires already pay 50% of all taxes. But it's a talking point. It sounds good. But really what happens is they do this. It crushes small businesses, right? And the big corporations, they just leave. So now you don't got no businesses in your state that's going to boost the economy, right? So now when that burden can't shift to these to the billionaires and the millionaires, then it shifts to the middle class. And that's what it's doing. That's what it's doing in Chicago. And this is why they're bitching so much because he's trying to raise property tax, all of these different taxes. It's crazy.
Corporations are making a killing right now, and we have alders that are more interested in defending these big corporations than families like mine who went without food and electricity and could not afford rent and mortgage.
Bro, where's the tears? Where's the actual tears? Like, yo, these Democrats, nothing but theater, bro. It's all theater. It's all politics. Play on your emotions and hope that it catches. Hope that it sticks. That's it. Straight clown.
Give me something I can work with.
That is the most shameful degree.
He said, give me something I can work with. Yo, they're desperate, bro. They're desperate. They've been robbing you for so long, right, that they got comfortable robbing us. They got comfortable robbing us to the point where they're looking like, bro, what? The audacity of you not to let us rob you anymore? And this is why they hate Trump, bro. It's why I'm just going to keep saying it because every time you turn around, you see these fraud stories, right, where somewhere in these Democratic states, mostly, it's fraud going on in these Republican states too. Don't get it fucked up. But this fraud is outrageous in these Democratic states because they're the ones that's holding on to these illegal immigrants. You know what I mean? That's the safe haven for illegal immigrants. So they got all of this money, right? These federal dollars, taxpayer money, our money going to illegal immigrants around the board, housing, food, all of that stuff. And then, you know, they're taking more money with these taxes. And then they're not even doing like Gavin Newsom, these so-called projects and stuff that they claim that they're doing, right? Oh, we're gonna boost the education. Kids is dumber than ever, bro. We're like so far down the list of education, But we got billions of dollars going to these things, to these budgets. And this is why Trump is saying we need to get rid of it. We need to get rid of it. Because this is the thing, right? And you've seen this with the Department of Education. I've heard Trump say it on this, and I've seen him also say it on the subsidies, the Obamacare, saying, no, I don't want to give the money to the Board of Education. I want to give this money directly to the schools. I want to give this money directly to the people so they can buy their own health care and not give it to these big corporations who are winning in this situation. So it's small stuff like that I see, and I'm like, that sounds like Trump is for the people. The stuff that these people are talking about, it doesn't benefit us. It benefits the millionaires and the billionaires. Remember, projection is real, bro. This is what they're the best at, projection.
Humiliating thing I've ever seen from another grown man. Brandon Johnson is trying to ruin Chicago by taxing all of the businesses out of the city. The city council rightfully stopped his disastrous plan, and then he gives us the worst fake crying performance in history to appear sympathetic and try to pretend that he was just doing it to help out poor people, guys. The poverty sucks. The corporations aren't paying their share. Smash the like button if you enjoyed that. I thought it was hilarious. But the city of Chicago is running at a $1 billion deficit, and to try and solve the problem, the city hired a consulting agency, which found enough non-disruptive cuts that could take the city out of its $1 billion deficit and put it in a $400 million surplus. But Brandon Johnson refused. He also refused to stop giving free welfare to the city's over 100,000 illegal aliens. And in his disastrous elementary school quality theatric performance, he tried to make it seem like he was taxing corporations to help put food on the table for poor people. But he's not. He wants to spend that money on a violence prevention program where they hire ex-cons to prevent violence in the black community. A program that's already failed so badly that we saw a man who was wanted in 6 different states standing next to the governor of Illinois, who touted him as a valuable community asset. And all of this abject, undefensible stupidity has caused the Democrat city council to turn against Brandon Johnson. And here is one of those city council members absolutely destroying him. Grab your popcorn and watch this.
This is an issue, guys, of how do you perform the best in order to sell the worst policy possible that's going to shift the burden of taxation away from downtown as you continue to chase businesses out and put it on the property owners, the homeowners of the city of Chicago, who are already seeing a 16% increase in their property taxes thanks to his policies that have chased businesses out of this city. What the mayor doesn't tell people while he's tearing up for the cameras is that just last year he tried to stick homeowners with a $300 million property tax increase, as well as hundreds of millions of dollars in new fines and fees. He's doing it again this year, but in order for him to make that campaign pledge that he wants to tax the rich, this is the performance we get. It has nothing to do with helping everyday Chicagoans, because he had none of these tears when he was giving away $600 million to take care of 60,000 Venezuelan migrants here in the city of Chicago.
Also, just for the folks at home, you've got a D next to your name, so
It's a Democrat, bro. This is a Democrat digging in this nigga, bro. Pause, bro. A Democrat is giving you the real about this guy, Brandon Johnson, bro. Like, just look at this. Chicago mayor proposes $600 million in new taxes. Like, what is this? A cloud tax? What the fuck is that? What the fuck is a cloud tax? Hold on, I gotta look that up. Rideshare tax, corporate head tax, social media tax, online sporting betting tax. Bro, yacht mooring fees. Yo, this dude is crazy, bro. I gotta look at this cloud tax. That looks crazy.
you're a Democrat. You're in the same party as the mayor here. Raymond, so Seattle tried and then repealed a similar head tax in 2018 because guess what? Companies like Amazon threatened to withhold expansion. Why does he think Chicago would be any different?
You know, it's very interesting for me personally to hear Mayor Johnson talk about all of these failed policies as though they are somehow going to magically work simply because we have Lake Michigan right behind us. They are not going to work. We know what we need to do if we want to lessen the tax burden on working families is that we need to grow the economy. We need to invite businesses back. We need to put people to work. And his $21 a person head tax, while it sounds low, will cost company millions. Take, for example, our local grocer, N.G.L.A. hires 35,000 people here in the city of Chicago. They would have to pay $7 million a year just for the purposes of putting people to work. I doubt they would stay just because of that.
Yeah, it's that.
They out of control. It says a Chicago cloud tax is a common name for a component of the city's existing personal property lease transaction tax, a PPLTT tax that applies to the use of cloud computing services and software as a service within Chicago, whatever the fuck that means. 11% of the gross receipt from Chicago's customers. A proposed increase to 14% is included in the mayor's 2026 budget proposal. So it's just like every year this dude is just going up and going up and going up. This is crazy, bro. I wonder why them people in Chicago don't like him.
Bad. But he said one thing that highlights the true problem of Mayor Brandon Johnson, above all of his other very many and severe problems. The city needs growth, but growth requires capitalism. And Mayor Brandon Johnson is a devout socialist. We spent all this time talking about Zohran Mamdani because he was a foreign socialist, but Brandon Johnson is arguably the scariest and most ideologically radical out of all of them. He called for a general strike to shut down the entire economy at the No Kings protest. Literally every single person, the Democrat city council members, Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker, all disagreed with his tax proposal. The only group that proudly endorsed it was Brandon Johnson's very own Chicago Teachers Union, which is, if you're unfamiliar, a literal Marxist activist organization in charge of teaching the kids of Chicago. And you wonder why they spend more money per pupil than anywhere in America, yet none of the kids can read, write, or do math. Brandon Johnson has 100 different ways he could balance the city's finances, but he rejected all of them and pushed forward vehemently with the one plan that would take more money from businesses and rich people. And his explanation was because he feels he's entitled to it. He's repeatedly explained he's not looking to spend money effectively or efficiently or even in a way that yields some sort of positive benefit. He just wants government to be in charge of everything, and he's going to make it happen. And because of his anti-business policies and unwavering commitment to illegal aliens, he's run cities out of Chicago, which has lowered taxes, and kept every illegal on welfare, which raised costs. And to pay for all this, he doubled property taxes in the black neighborhoods in Chicago. Take a look at what the county treasurer said.
Well, hold on. She's about to explain to you how this dude is just a fraud, bro. They're frauds. Straight frauds. Claiming they care about you. They care about the poor. They care about the middle class. Listen to this, bro. This is crazy right
This bill. This is somebody whose bill in South Chicago went from $3,900 from $1,800 rather to $3,900. And here it shows you on the bill, where does your money go? It tells you whether or not your bill went up or down based upon a particular agency. And you see here the Board of Education is approximately 60% of the bill. So you don't have to pay this bill on December 15th. You can pay it over a 13-month period of time, a payment plan with 9% interest. You want to wonder why these bills for the residences, in particular, look at this. These were the hardest hit. The hardest hit were West Garfield Park, which is up 133%, North Lawndale, which is up 99%, and Englewood, which is up 82%. Let me show you the Englewood bill. Here, this person, it was $988. It's gone up to $2,300.
Oh my goodness. But how is that possible when we're talking about neighborhoods that have a median income of $20,000 or $30,000?
It's possible It's possible when the city council votes on improvements, and those improvements include something that allows the entire group of residences and commercial buildings to pay more.
So not only did they double,
like my thing is, what improvements, bro? This is what they do. They'll throw they'll get on the street and start paving shit, making it look like they doing something. And now my motherfucking shit go up. Yo, bro, these people don't do nothing but rob us, bro. Yo, the government is out of control, bro, at this point, bro. I ain't even gonna lie to you, bro. It's out of control, bro. All of this money, she said $900 and some dollars to $2,300. And this is in a rough neighborhood. This ain't in the suburbs.
the property taxes in predominantly black areas, but if you can't afford it, too bad. Now you're forced to get a 9% interest rate government loan or else they'll seize your house. And all this from Brandon Johnson, who constantly complains about racism, who claims Donald Trump and white supremacy are harming black people, who claims that he's a black supremacist, he stands with black people, loves black people, fights for black people, but loves illegal aliens so much more that he's forcing the already struggling black community to pay for them to get free welfare. In that same interview, the treasurer says that the suburbs of Chicago got hit with modest 10-11% property tax increases, which is still a ton, but certainly not as crippling as what Brandon Johnson did to the group of people he claims he's specifically and exclusively trying to help. Tomorrow, I'm going to be dropping a video covering the entire interview with that treasurer because, guys, she spills all of the beans on Brandon Johnson. She exposes all of his corruption and dysfunction and reveals that the city of Chicago is on the verge of collapse and destruction. So make sure.
That's crazy, man. Shout out to Brandon Lamb, bro, bringing the best news, man. Yo, this is crazy, bro. This is. Hey, man. I'm gonna keep saying it, bro. That's all they care about. It's all you see. That's all you hear. It's all about they complaining about the Obama tax credits or whatever, the ACA subsidies. Going straight to the insurance companies. Billionaires, millionaires. It's going straight to them. Them dollars are not touching the people. I just had not even a debate, because a lot of people, bro, and I don't claim to know it all at all. I don't, right? I be learning just like everybody else. But I've seen people talk about Donald Trump, right? They make these claims, can't back them up. And then they truly think, this is how blind, and this is how I know, I see it firsthand, that people are truly blind, deaf, and maybe some are a little dumb. Because even small things like the shutdown, they blame Donald Trump. Like somebody recently just was arguing with me, oh, Donald Trump was the reason. And I'm like, it's 60 votes. Did you know it was 60 votes? You know, Democrats voted no every time. They don't know. Because like I said, bro, the average person doesn't care about politics. They don't care. They really, truly don't care. People act like they do, but they really don't. You know, and I don't blame them. You know, people just care about paying their bills, bro. Paying their bills, being able to save some money, live life, bro. That's it. Nobody care about all this extra stuff. But the fact of the matter is, we need to start caring, because look at what they're doing. Look at what they're doing, bro. This is going on everywhere, especially in Democratic states, especially with most of them being sanctuary cities, where they got a lot of illegal immigrants there taking up resources. This is crazy, bro. This stuff is crazy. Let's get into this next story with MattMorseTV.
Ladies and gentlemen, President Trump just dropped an absolutely massive surprise announcement that frankly has many of the United States' biggest adversaries absolutely scrambling. You see, as I'm sure you all know, numerous other countries around the world have pretty much been hell-bent on picking our country apart for decades now. They've been illegally invading our country, they've been flooding our country with deadly narcotics, and many of them have been engaging in economically predacious behavior, to say the least. But what if I told you that many of these countries have actually been intentionally flooding the United States of America with cheap agricultural products in order to deliberately destroy the American agricultural sector? Well, not only have they been doing this, but they've also been willingly losing money in the process, deliberately undercutting American farmers, ultimately trying to run them out of business. And the reason why is because what they want is a weak, dependent America, an America that can't even take care of itself, or in this case, feed itself. Now, to many of you, I'm sure this entire situation is going to sound very familiar because this is exactly what's happened with American manufacturing over the last 35 years. We shipped all of our manufacturing jobs overseas, we became entirely dependent on foreign manufacturing, and ultimately, we became totally unable to manufacture anything for ourselves. And of course, in early 2021, just 4 years ago, we all saw just how catastrophic that dynamic really is. Remember all the shortages we had of medical supplies and toilet paper, for instance? Well, what did China say when we came knocking on their door asking for assistance in the middle of the pandemic? Pretty much, they told us to go kick rocks. Sorry, America, you're on your own. And so really, when you stop and think about it, this is an absolutely massive national security threat, which is why President Trump is not only—
Hold on, bro. Just think about this. It is true, though. Like, even medicine, we're dependent on things that we shouldn't depend on other countries for. And this is because a lot of these politicians have been selling us out. And I see Trump on the campaign trail talking about bringing business, manufacturing back to the states. You know what I mean? Talking about how the quality is cheap. And he's right. It's like we don't manufacture nothing in America no more. You know what I mean? And then anything that we do have, we try to import it to other countries, and they either don't want it or they don't allow it. They either tax the shit out of it to where it's not even beneficial. So we're depending on basically enemies of the country to, for goods. This stuff is backwards, bro. I don't get it. I don't get it at all. I mean, I get it. A lot of businesses went overseas because it was cheaper, but that's why Trump wants to lower the taxes. So it's more enticing for businesses like Apple, Nike, and all these other businesses, I'm assuming, to come and manufacture here in America. That's called America First, bro. That is crazy. That is national
actively trying to bring back American manufacturing. But now he's also trying to prevent some of these predatory foreign countries like China, for instance, from also hollowing out our agricultural sector as well. Which is why just earlier today, President Trump announced his brand new $12 billion plan to prevent this from happening. Take a look.
I'm delighted to announce this afternoon that the United States will be taking a small portion of the hundreds of billions of dollars we receive in tariffs. We are making a lot of money from countries that took advantage of us for years. They took advantage of us like nobody's ever seen. Our deficits are way down because of tariffs. I guess because of the election, because without the election you wouldn't have tariffs. You'd be sitting here losing your shirt. But we're taking in billions. We're really taking in trillions of dollars, if you think about it, Scott, because the real numbers, when you think of all the money being poured into the country for new auto.
Hey, yo, if you even think about, I seen Mark Zuckerberg and Jeff Bezos and a lot of billionaires talk about how much money they were investing into America. And other like Hyundai and, different, big businesses. Just think about this. When Trump came in, he was able to make these things happen, make these deals happen with the EU, with other countries, potentially with China. So he's making big deals, right? Also, outside of that, he's making more deals with businesses bringing business here in America. If he didn't become the president, none of this would be happening. None of it. Literally, Kamala Harris right now and her whole administration, because it wouldn't even really be Kamala. It wouldn't really be Kamala Harris. You know, we know that for a fact. It'd probably be Obama. It'd be all of them. And they'll be selling this out, bro. And it's crazy. Like, you just think in your mind, like you can't believe that these people are really doing this. Like, really selling the country out, bro. Like, Biden, I mean, it's sad because I can't even really blame Biden because I don't even really think it was Biden. I don't think Biden knew anything that was going on, bro. And we know that because of the conversation Mike Johnson said he had with him, where he said he signed some I forget what it was, but it was something that he signed that was important. And he was like, why did you do this? And he's like, no, I didn't do that. Yeah, it's crazy, bro.
Plants and all of the other things, AI. So what we're doing is we're taking a relatively small portion of that, and we're going to be giving and providing it to the farmers in economic assistance. And we love our farmers, and as you know, the farmers like me, because you know, based on voting trends, you could call it voting trends or anything else, but they're great people. They're the backbone of our country.
And of course, our farmers really are the backbone of our country. Which is why, as we said earlier, our agricultural sector has been specifically and deliberately targeted by numerous hostile nations. Because ultimately, what they want to do is destroy our capacity to take care of ourselves here in the United States of America, even at the most basic level, like growing food. And now, to give you guys a better idea of really exactly what's been going on, I've got another clip I want you all to take a look at, but first, I do want to say real fast that if you folks enjoy the daily news updates, please consider subscribing to the channel because it really does help a ton. But okay, check this out.
But us in the South are really struggling. I mean, this is not just a crisis. I would say it's almost a market dynamics that really are true anti-competitive nature, right? So it follows what you sent out this weekend. And we do believe that countries are dumping rice into this country today. We've never seen imports this great.
Which countries?
India, Thailand, even China into Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico used to be one of the largest markets for U.S. rice. We haven't shipped rice into Puerto Rico in years. So this has been happening for years. This didn't start during your administration, but unfortunately, we're seeing it in a much bigger way now. The tariffs are working, but we need to double down because
you want more. I mean,
well, they're cheating, right? They're they're just subsidizing and then
India. Tell me about India. Why is India allowed to do that? They have to pay tariffs. Do they have an exemption on rice?
No, sir. We're still working on their trade deal. So
yeah, but they should be dumping. I mean, I heard that from others. So you can't do that.
There's a WTO case against India
now. Give me the countries, if you could. Go ahead. India, who else?
So India.
Mark it down. What's your skin?
Yes, sir.
India, Thailand, China into Puerto Rico, not into continental U.S., but into Puerto Rico. Those are the main culprits.
So Puerto Rico used to do a lot of business, and now you
100%. Puerto Rico was U.S. based.
All right.
And
so easy to settle.
Like, don't you want this as a president, though? Like, who's just talking about getting stuff done? This is what I was talking about, in previous episodes about, you hear the Democrats do a lot of complaining. I hear them complaining all the time. Trump complain. What he's doing is bad for the country. But I don't see that. People don't see that. We see prices slowly, but they're going down. It's slow, but it's going down. And more importantly, with the one big beautiful bill about to pass, I'm about to go back to work. I'm going to leave. I'm about to go back to work in January. Perfect timing. Overtime. No tax on the overtime. I'm going to be seeing more money on my check. That's beneficial. You know what I mean? It's a small solution because it's still ultimately I shouldn't even have to. He shouldn't even have to do stuff like this. We should see more of our check. Period. Paying into the system is cool, but raping us is crazy. is out of control what they're doing. And so he's trying to, lessen the burden a little bit. And I can fuck with that. And then on top of that, my whole thing is everything that they talk about, he's doing things that is solution-based. He has a solution for it. You know what I'm saying? Is everything he doing perfect? Of course not. Nobody's perfect. But when you hear these Democrats and they complain and they talk about Trump bad, right? What's the counter? What's the rebuttal? I don't see it. Now, you seen the Democrat that was talking about Brandon Johnson. Negatively, not positively, negatively talking about Brandon Johnson. How he's ruining Chicago. And he sounded base what he was talking about. He sounded like he might even have solutions to help Chicago. I'm with that. The Democrat or not. That's what needs to happen with the Democratic Party. They need to get off of this whole TDS rant. Stop worrying about, what Trump is the president. They should be on board. They should be giving him, hey, I think we could better this plan and invite ideas. But they're not doing that. All they do is go against every single thing this man does. You're not going to sit here and tell me every single thing he does is negative, especially when everything they say is lies, 99% of it. And then you have the part of it where it's like, you don't see, they said it was going to be a recession. They said that the market was going to crash. All these different things. None of it happened. None of it. They said we was going to go to wars and he's causing peace. I don't see it. That's my thing. It's just logic. It's not like I'm seeing something different than anybody else, bro. So when people be dogging him, am I sitting there saying every single thing he's doing is right? Is everything in the one big beautiful bill perfect and benefits the middle class? I'm not saying that. You know what I mean? But he's doing things that's helping everybody. You can't please everybody, bro. You just can't. I don't see that happening. You know what I mean? you give it. It's a give and take thing.
And just like that, the problem is settled. Ladies and gentlemen, that is why we love President Trump. But as that lovely woman said, foreign adversarial nations have literally been dumping their cheap agricultural goods into our country for not just one, but really for two curious reasons. Yes, of course, they are trying to make money by dumping all of their agricultural products into the United States of America, but also I can't help but notice that all of these product dumping nations are also members of BRICS, which is, of course, by the way, a hostile economic bloc that is ultimately aimed at undermining the US dollar and also really undermining the entire United States of America as well. And so, as of today, President Trump is now not only sticking up for American farmers, but also American national security. Take a look.
Farmers are an indispensable national asset, part of the backbone of America. I've always felt it so strongly. They're so important. Unfortunately, under sleepy Joe Biden, he's a sleepy guy. Our farmers were crushed by the worst inflation in modern history and crippling restrictions on energy, water, and countless other necessities for farmers. And what they did to the farmer in terms of putting the brakes on was just absolutely unacceptable. In my first term, we had an agricultural trade surplus by a lot. We had a big surplus, meaning we were exporting American agricultural products all over the world, making a net profit, and in many cases, a very substantial profit. He came in and ruined it. Biden turned that surplus into a gaping agricultural deficit that continues to this day, but we're knocking it down. It's starting to go very good. In fact, China, as you know, is buying a tremendous amount of soybeans, and the number, I spoke with President Xi recently, very recently, and I think he's going to do even more than he promised.
Hit that like button, subscribe if you're not subscribed. Appreciate you for tapping in.
To do. So I think the relationship is a very good one. I think he's going to do more than he promised to do, and what he promised to do is a lot. So we're very happy with that.
And so, folks, because of President Trump's deal-making with this entire situation, now China, who is, by the way, perhaps our single most adversarial nation, is now making brand new purchase agreements. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I just have to say, It is such a breath of fresh air to finally have a president who actually understands what national security really means.
That's a fact, man. Yo, shout out to MattMorseTV. Also, another thing that you gotta love is the transparency. You know, he's constantly having these meetings, bringing the media in, even though he knows the media is against him, full force. He still allows them in. He still takes the questions. You see Trump on TV answering questions. You know, even these hoaxes and bullshit stories. He's not running. He's not hiding. He's not Joe Biden, bro. He's not Kamala Harris. He's not getting out here afraid to answer questions, stumbling, none of that. You can say what you want about the man, but he's a leader. Period. You know what I mean? You got to respect that. If anything, you got to respect that he's getting stuff done. You know? You constantly seeing the action, and that's what counts, bro. That's what counts. But let's get into this next story about Gavin Newsom in California with my guy Brian Maxwell.
Now, this may be hard to believe, but it seems like Hollywood may be the cause of Gavin Newsom's downfall, and why, outside of the fact his state is historically terrible, why he will not be somebody who has a shot at winning the presidency. Because I'm not sure if you saw it or heard it recently, Halle Berry came out and torched the crap out of Gavin Newsom. So bad, it made the audience gasp like. And so in this video, I'm going to let you see that. Also, I'm going to follow that up with Victor David Hanson. I'm not sure if you're familiar with who he is, but he's a scholar. He's an intellectual out of California, but he's a conservative. He's a Republican. And he breaks down Gavin Newsom and California and the impact of what's going on there, and how Halle Berry's statement and decision to go after him will have a negative impact, or what type of impact it's going to have on his political career, because he's not going to be governor. Man, as a matter of fact, some people say the reason why he decided to jump in and run for presidency on the heels of his state just having bad news and budget deficits.
Hold on, my bad, bro. But the audacity of this dude to even think about running for president, bro, is crazy. Like, he literally is probably top 5 worst politicians ever. Obviously, this is like blatantly robbing California blind. Crazy. Like, the amounts of money that have disappeared in California because of Gavin Newsom is ridiculous. Ridiculous, bro. This dude needs to go. And this is why people need to stop being slaves to the party. Whether it's Republicans or Democrats, right? If they're bad, they're bad. Like, I don't know why people are stuck on a party. I guess in a sense, you might have to take sides. I don't know. For me, I don't care about, it's about who aligns with my morals, my values, the principles, standards that I stand on. That's what matters. What makes sense? We're human, bro. You got your lazy people out here who don't want to work, who don't want to contribute and things like that. But I'm talking about the majority. The majority work, pay taxes, have families, and, are normal everyday people who ain't worrying about all of these distractions that's going on. Like, they care about, I know for a fact, bro, even a lot of Democrats, because I've seen videos of logical Democrats who are just being honest and keeping it real. Like, bro, our party isn't the party that it used to be. Because even back when Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, Obama, like, a lot of the stuff that they stood on is the things that Trump is continuing right now. Like, regular shit. Before Obama came in, passed laws that did no benefit, really, just to be honest, no real benefit. And no matter how you try to slice it, there's no benefit into a lot of things that he did. And, bro, people's neighborhoods are still shit, bro. So you're voting for these people and they're literally looking right over you. And black people should be the most upset, just Not fucking with Democrats at all, especially right now. Because just me as a black man, right? Looking at how these people are fighting for illegal immigrants who have no right here at all. You know, people try to come with this whole moral thing. Oh, we're all human. Yeah, okay. Okay, you're right. But at the end of the day, they still came here illegally. They broke the law to come here. And more importantly, I can't even blame them because they did what anybody would do. You know what I mean? Every country wants to come to America. You know what I mean? So they did what they were supposed to do, but it was our country, our Congress, and politicians who let these people come in under Joe Biden, bro. And they literally are trying to replace you. Where did these people go? They go to the inner cities, period. You know what I mean? They taking up your jobs. You know what I mean? They working for the low. And they taking your job, man. It's crazy, bro. It's crazy. Giving our resources to them, bro. It doesn't make you mad. If you're on SNAP benefits, you're getting some type of assistance, it doesn't make you mad hearing the amounts of money that these illegal immigrants are getting and knowing that they're in, plush hotels and they're getting free housing and they've been here for years now. Like, that doesn't bother you? Hey. Crazy.
And all types of stuff is to avoid investigation. Because word on the street, listen, this is all alleged right here. This part, word on the street is there's investigations going into money laundering, and other type of things that are illegal felonies in California that are attached to Governor Newsom, allegedly. So
California Governor Gavin Newsom's administration is under active criminal investigation over allegations of money laundering $800 million through NGOs tied to the Palisades fire. Federal investigators from the IRS Criminal Investigation Division have been actively investigating fraud tied to the fire relief, including emails and donation records from affected victims. Their focus includes allegations of money laundering through nonprofits. Well,
you telling me that nigga don't look sleazy? This nigga look like a scumbag. Dog. Look at him. Oh my God! Every time he get out there and he just lying your face, I'll be wondering in my brain, right? When I see certain things, like when I see them at these podiums and they sitting there and they got these grand speeches talking about how they, care about California or whatever state they're in, right? And I just be thinking what they're really thinking in their heads. Like, oh, they're looking at the crowd. They're seeing if you're focused in, if you're locked in, if you do I look believable? Like, that's all that goes through this nigga head, bro. Is they believe in me? This motherfucker is a grimy piece of shit, bro. That's all you hear. That's all you hear about this dude, is that he is robbing you and he's allowing his wife to rob you. Bro, these people don't care about us, bro. They do not care, bro. This dude is the greasy politician in every movie, bro.
Fire aid organizers claim grants totaling $100 million were given to different recovery groups. Pacific Palisades residents and Altadena families report that they haven't been given any money or haven't received any help. Instead, the money went to 100 nonprofit programs, leaving many homeowners to...
Bro, they said homeowners are saying we didn't receive no money. People's houses burned down. Listen, I don't know. This is just, a little opinion. But I wouldn't be surprised if they started the fires. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to be honest, bro. These be land grabs. There be all type of corruption going on, bro. 800 million and the people ain't even touching it. You can't make this shit.
Shoulder the cost of rebuilding on their own. Even though Governor Newsom's office says they didn't play a role in fire aid grants, reports from earlier this year flagged his wildfire donation portal for routing contributions through a Democratic super PAC. Newsom signed a $2.5 billion state relief package in January and unlocked over $2 billion of it in federal aid by March. However, victims say they haven't seen any of that money either. This comes as Newsom's ex-chief of staff was indicted on $225,000 in campaign fraud charges.
I'm gonna go off into these videos, and then we're gonna show what Gavin Newsom actually feels about women in this video. So check this out. You're gonna enjoy this one. But let's start off with listening to what Halle Berry had to say when she attacked him. And before I get into that, now you see this pose that Gavin Newsom has right here. This is him speaking at this New York Times summit. And I want to point out something to y'all. Gavin Newsom already has all of these weird hand gestures that he does. He has this thing where he likes to put his wrist together, but no regular man sits like this in the chair. I'm 6'5", 260 pounds. So I'm very tall. So when I sit even in low seats, you know, I sit, and even if I did cross my legs, look at how his legs are crossed. Now, what's funny about that is, you know, the internet is undefeated. And then I'm gonna get into the Halle Berry clips. But this is these are the memes that was made out of that. So this is how he was sitting.
Bro, why they got his head peeking over his legs? Hey, yo, the internet is shot out, bro. Hold on, bro. So is she at the same event? Hold on, man. Yo,
this is the meme. And Gavin Newsom actually reposted this. And man, he is getting eaten alive.
Listen, Gavin Newsom, I give it to him in a sense, because he's a politician, bro. These politicians, they're good, bro. I'll give it to them, bro. They know how to, you know, redirect. They know how to dodge questions quickly. You know, most of them are sharp. I'm not saying all of them are, but most of them are sharp. And he's one of them. Like this dude, I've seen him on podcasts and things like that. He's so unauthentic, bro. He's not authentic at all. If you've seen him on All the Smoke, oh my God, you know, Wonder Bread stack, you know, bro, bro, they want to be relatable so bad. They will do anything, say anything. Hillary Clinton told you she walked around with hot sauce in her pocketbook. Kamala Harris says she cooked collard greens in the bathtub, bruh. What? They'll do and say anything. If they think it's going to stick, catch, people going to fall for it, they'll say it. They don't care, bro. They don't care. These people, they don't care. They just want to rob us, get in office, get in that power structure, and do what they do best. That's it.
And what did the New York Post say? It says Gavin Newsom's gross response to the Post testicle-crushing pose coverage backfires, sparking wave of memes. So he getting memed out of this world for that. But let's listen to what Halle Berry had to say. Now, I'm not sure how many movie roles she's going to get after this, because this pissed the left off. But she's fighting for women. But check this out.
Back in my great state of California, my very own governor, Gavin Newsom, has vetoed our menopause bill, not 1, but 2 years in a row. But that's okay.
Hold on. So are they at the same event? Was she there with him? Was he there when she was saying this?
Because he's not going to be governor forever. And with the way he's overlooked women, half the population, by devaluing us in midlife, he probably should not be our next president either. Just saying.
You heard what she said.
I need every woman in this country to fight with me. But the truth is, the fight isn't just for us women. We need men too. We need all of the leaders, every single one of you in this room. This fight needs you. We need back in.
And you couldn't hear it. I'm not sure if you could hear it very well, but when she said that, and he shouldn't be president either, the room gasped, like, because you already know Gavin Newsom spoke on this same panel. As you can see that background, same background. He actually spoke there on that day. So this is of course, all mostly Democrats that are there. And when she said that, the audience, she sucked the air out of the room. They said, they couldn't believe she said it. But let's listen to Victor David.
But just think about that, though. Just think about that. Halle Berry, right? Who's, you know, been in this Hollywood lifestyle, California, you know, for all of these years. She knows what's going on firsthand. She's, you know, obviously famous. For her to come to this event, which he's saying, I'm not 100% sure, but a lot of Democrats there, for her to, you know, strategically come there speaking and saying what she's saying, why would she do this if it wasn't authentic, if it wasn't real? People are telling you who these people are. They're telling you who they are by what they do. That's the thing. They telling you exactly who they are by what they do. And most of them don't do shit. But propose new ways to tax us. Kamala Harris did it. Joe Biden did it. Gavin Newsom, all of these Democrat politicians are doing it. I'm pretty sure there's Republicans too who are doing it. So, bro, the government is entirely too big. It's too much money going to bullshit. And the money should be going. Why do we need a Department of Education? For what? For what? For what? Schools are already built. There's already administrations at these schools. Why can't the money go directly to schools? Cut out the middleman who ain't doing nothing. Who ain't doing nothing but giving small percentages to schools they want to. Why can't we take money that's going to these bullshit, even with USAID? Why do we need a whole building with all of these thousands of employees to figure out who we want to send money to foreign countries? For what? We need to cut all of this stuff, all of these departments, right? Even like the FBI, CIA, they all need to be one department, just one. Call it whatever. Call it the alphabet building. All of y'all need to be in that one building. Y'all need to cut half the people there that don't need to be there. Just think about how much money can go back into to the people if we do that. I think that's the best thing that we could do in America is cut the government tremendously. Elon was talking about it. Trump is talking about it. I think the tariff thing, ultimately, that's going to be, and hopefully it stands up, that's going to be one of the things that allow Trump to bring money in. Other than that, the only money that's coming into the government is from us. Like, come on, bro.
Answer. But before I even get into that, check out this video that was done sharing Gavin Newsom's process from 2018 when he started in California to now. Check this out.
101 consecutive months of net job growth, California.
Played this before.
We're not debating deficits anymore. We now are debating the sizes of surpluses. There's 134,000 human beings out on the streets and sidewalks.
Never Newsom. Why they have to put the Mexican music in the background? That's hilarious to me. But let's listen to Victor David Hanson.
Gavin Newsom right now.
I gotta tap back in with my guy, man. I used to play a lot of his video. I need to start tapping back in with him.
Will probably have a $17 billion deficit. California has the largest unfunded liability of $250 billion.
Listen, Victor David Hanson is one of them. He is one of them journalists. He is very, he's a source. This dude knows what he's talking about. He's into it. This is what he does. I take what he say as law.
They don't have the money to meet largest number of homeless, largest number of illegal aliens, most expensive houses, highest gas tax, highest electricity tax, highest sales tax, not 1 foot of high-speed rail, $15 billion down the rat hole.
If you're enjoying this video, do me a solid, hit that thumbs up because I'll never ask you for a cash app, a donation, or a super chat. You just hitting that like button, it helps a great deal, and I really appreciate you for it. And if you want to subscribe to the channel, subscribe. And once you do, make sure you hit the notification bell, but select all, because YouTube has issues with notifications, but when you select all, YouTube will make sure that you get notified when I or anyone else uploads new video.
Solar plant blows up, battery plant in Monterey, remember that? 2 of them, $1 billion. Solar plant in the desert. Oh, it doesn't work anymore. That's just $2 billion. Oh, 17,000 driver's license. This is Gavin Newsom. But my point of all that is, why then is he funding a reparations commission? Or why does he give $500 million in Medi-Cal when Medi-Cal is broke and he needs $2 billion from the federal government, and 50% of the births are on Medi-Cal and 40% of the population are on Medi-Cal. And he gives illegal aliens Medi-Cal. He says he didn't, but he did. He said $500 million and now it's gone. Does he ever understand that he has a $17 billion deficit looming? Maybe that was the reason why. If you have the highest income taxes and the highest sales taxes and the highest gas taxes, you would think that you would be flush with cash. No, he's going to run for president. I don't know what he's going to do. Is he going to say, I'm going to do for California? I'm going to do for America what I did for California? I was just looking the other day what he's been saying. Here's my plan to lower electricity. Here's my plan to lower gas. Here's my plan to build 6-lane freeways and stop the carnage. Here's my plan to address high-speed rail boondoggle. Here's my plan to deal with the most homeless in the nation. Here's my plan to lower sales taxes. This is my plan to make housing the most expensive per square foot in the country.
Remember I said this, they don't have no solution. All they got is slick talk in order to try to gaslight the people for the votes. Once they get in there, they come up with all these so-called grand ideas. They talk about climate change and different things that don't do nothing but hurt the very people that they claim that they're helping, bro. Point blank, period.
No, I'm going to hit Donald Trump in the mouth. He's a bully.
So as he broke down all of that stuff, this is Gavin Newsom. Okay, so Halle Berry coming out on him and saying that, and wait till you hear his backtrack on that. So her coming out and confronting him, you know, calling him on Front Street was real, and I'm going to prove it to you. Now, I want you to listen to Gavin Newsom's take on abortion, right? Term limits. Listen to this.
You have probably heard more and more Republicans, including Donald Trump, who just over the weekend accused Democrats of supporting abortion rights up to and after birth. Can you be clear about...
What does that mean, after birth, abortion after birth? It's made up. It's a political...
Well, can you just be clear about what limits on abortion should be?
It's a political thing. People are not seeking abortion.
But what is the policy? What should it be?
But look, though, like, see how he's not answering the question? Now he's trying to dodge it. He's trying to say, people ain't... Like, she's acting like she's asking something insane, like other politicians aren't going for this same stuff.
To Donald Trump or me, it's up to you, to women that have to bear that responsibility uniquely and distinctively. And the reality is, it's a canard. It's a political frame. It's total BS. And
this man is one of the fakest people. Like when you watch Gavin Newsom speak, look at that face. Do you believe him? I mean, not only does he remind you of the character on the movie American Psycho, but he's a pathological liar. And let me show you how.
Extreme.
Now, he just said in that, you know, it's up to the woman. It's not up to you. It's not up to us. And it's a conundrum. You notice what he never did answer is, does he believe in term limits? Because that's the question. She said that Republicans, including Trump at that time, he wasn't president, accused the Democrats, especially Gavin Newsom, of supporting even up to the point of after birth. And that's a real thing where the lady goes past her time, or she has the baby but realizes that she doesn't want it, and they dispose of the child.
Well, just look how sick this is. I don't care what y'all. You can say what you want, bro. You could bring up the small percentage of the exceptions, but in California, abortion is illegal up to fetal viability around 24 to 26 weeks for any reason. And after that, it's permitted only if the pregnant person's life or health is at risk, as determined by a doctor. You can get medication abortion up to 10 weeks and procedural abortions to viability with specific timing depending on the clinic and type of procedures. But bro, 26 weeks is crazy. I don't care what you're talking about. Like, bro.
That is a real thing,
bro.
Virginia's governor says he has no regrets on his comments earlier this week defending abortion, even as a baby is being born.
If a mother is in labor, I can tell you exactly what would happen. The infant would be delivered. The infant would be kept comfortable. The infant would be resuscitated if that's what the mother and the family desired. And then a discussion would ensue between the physicians and the mothers.
Right now is the open enrollment period for healthcare, which is why I want to take a moment to give a shout out to the sponsor of this video and partner plans available. But let's look right.
Yo, real quick, bro. This is what happens when you have when it's come to a point where in America there's like no morals anymore. There's no integrity. It's like, bro, there's no standards no more. Like, bro, that is crazy. That's an old clip. But I remember seeing that and basically saying, even if the baby is born, like even if the baby, right? Because all sometimes like through these procedures, the baby still makes it. Like, bro, it's so many options. That's what makes me mad. Is I don't believe in abortion. I'm just being honest. You know, I can understand in the extreme situations, I can understand it. Where I can, you know, I can understand why you do it. But I'm just talking about regularly, you out here doing adult things. Bro, why don't, this is my thing that makes me angry about the Democratic Party. Why aren't they promoting responsibility? I don't get that part. Like, why ain't that the first talking point? Why not express that, listen, we're not with, you know, abortion, right? You know, in these extreme cases, we understand, but we're not promoting it. They promote it. They promote this. They want you to do this. Knowing where it even, you know, originated from and why it was even, you know, brought to fruition is because they wanted to, you know, extinct the black race. And then now you got black people being the ones who get this procedure the most. But instead of promoting responsibility, saying, yo, strap it up. Bro, it's so much technology now. Like you got massive different types of birth control. You got different things, bro. Even simple, like tell the nigga to pull out. Like, just like nobody's talking about that. I don't hear that. I don't hear people promoting that. I heard Charlie Kirk promoting that. And they called him a racist and they called him a bigot and all of these different things because he was promoting life, pro-life, being, you know, logical, common sense. He's promoting common sense and they killed him for it. It's wild, bro. 26, bro, that's a baby. That's a baby. Understand that. Like I went and seen him. I just had my baby. My baby 2 months old. My baby boy, I got two babies, man. I got a 1-year-old and I got a 2-month-old, bro. Beautiful, bro. At 26 weeks, you can see their full features. That's sick. Sick, bro.
Right here in California, taking the life of a child is legal up to fetal viability around 24 to 26 weeks.
It's crazy.
Okay. Now, that is this. So we got up to 26 weeks. What is that? You're talking at 6-7 months? And they even have some amendments, though, that do allow for it to go even further than that. So as we see right now, Democrats with don't have to be nothing wrong. The mother doesn't have to have been assaulted by a family member, doesn't have to be assaulted by anybody else. Right now, just regular standard, you can walk in at 6 months, 7 months in California and get that little one removed. That is nuts and insane. And I apologize that this is offending any women out there that believe that this is righteous. I just disbelieve that. I believe that that's a living being from the
I don't apologize. I'm being honest.
Moment of inception is what I believe. But especially in 6-7 months, how can anybody dispute that? But Gavin Newsom is unwilling to just be real. Yeah, you know, in my state, we was reported up to 6-7 months and even up to 9 months in some extreme situations. But it doesn't stop there. To show you how little he supports women, wait till you see this. Now, this is where he went on with Charlie Kirk when Gavin Newsom got into the podcast game around the time when people thought that he was about to try to jump in the 2024 election.
Rest in peace, Charlie Kirk, man. You see, yo, this is why it's so important to enjoy life, right? And live life to the fullest. And I believe Charlie Kirk did that, right? You've seen him out all the time. You've seen him smiling. You've seen him in it, in his purpose. You know what I mean? Charlie Kirk was in his purpose, bro. And, you know, this is why, all we got is time, bro. All the other stuff is kind of like, whatever. Who cares, really? You know what I mean? Doesn't matter. You got the biggest house. You got the tallest house, all the land, all the money. It doesn't mean nothing if you ain't happy, if you ain't really fulfilled, if you ain't really in your purpose. You know what I'm saying? Rest in peace, Charlie Kirk, man. Like, really, really, it's just crazy how quickly, a few people still talk about him and stuff like that, but that's how quickly, like, life just goes on, bro. So we got to enjoy it while we here, man. For real.
And after Donald Trump won, he realized, you know what? We got to bring the temperature down and we need to understand Republicans. He thought that that was the wave. Once the Democrats were still fighting and going crazy, and he realized they weren't on the mission of trying to.
Leanna, what's up? Get rid of him. Who? Gavin Newsom? If you talking about Gavin Newsom, I agree totally, man. He's terrible.
You know, kind of taking the temperature down. He said, "Oh, the party's not doing that. I misspoke and did a misstep. Let me jump back to being extreme, and everything is anti-Republican." But at this period, he was trying to coexist with Republicans, and he had many Republicans come on his podcast and speak with him. A podcast that he doesn't do anymore, probably because of them investigations. But listen to this, and then I'm gonna follow it up with the Democrats themselves calling out his hypocrisy. Check this out.
It's like you right now should come out and be like, you know what? The young man who's about to win the state championship in the long jump in female sports, that shouldn't happen. You as the governor should step out and say no.
No, and I appreciate
but like, would you do something like that? Would you say no men in female sports?
Well, I think it's an issue of fairness. I completely agree with you on that. So that's easy to call out, the unfairness of that.
It's like you right now should come out and be like, you know what?
Now you just heard what he said there. Men and women's sports is not a good thing. It's bad. But to show you just how fake he is, okay, his own party is going to pull out his hypocrisy and show how he's doing nothing but saying what he thinks people want to hear, which Democrat voters love. You can speak sweet things, sweet nothings in their ear, and then piss on them and tell them it's raining. And they just, I don't understand Democrats. Joe Biden took us to a horrific 4 years, but they acted like it was perfectly fine. Trump is actually doing the things that protect us, help us make more money, help reduce our costs, and they act like this is the worst thing ever. But look at the hypocrisy of Gavin Newsom as his own party exposes him. Check this out.
Trump's for you, she's for they, them.
And
devastating.
Again,
devastating.
And,
devastating.
But let's talk
and
about,
she didn't even react to it, which was even more
and let's talk
devastating.
about.
So he's referring to the ad that they put out using the clip from when you were here. Only a handful of years ago, though, he agreed with Kamala Harris on this very issue.
Yeah, and it has been the law in California to allow transition care for prisoners since 2017. Gavin Newsom didn't speak out or say anything about it until now, 5 years later when it became a political liability. And in fact, he signed a landmark transgender rights bill for prisoners that affirms their right to have this type of care. And he approved a state Medicaid expansion that also extended gender affirming care to undocumented immigrants. So his record on this is really not matching the rhetoric that he was putting out in that podcast.
So while he's out in public saying, oh, yeah, no, that's not fair. He's in his home state signing legislation to allow taxpayer money to fund transgender surgeries for people, from inmates in prison and for illegal immigrants. And let's look at where those type of pieces of legislation has led people. In California, woman allegedly R-worded in prison by trans-identifying inmate will have to refer to attacker as he, she.
Bro. Yeah. And you know what's crazy too is because I actually looked this up because I didn't really believe it. But I looked this up because I'm like, it's no way that they're literally letting men in women's prisons. And they literally were doing this. Bro, you can't, bro. We in a wicked time, bro. Because some of this stuff, you just got to think why. Why are they doing it? What benefit does it have? Like, no matter what, like, why are you're putting women at risk? You're putting women at risk because a dude, like, bro, if I know I'm about to do life for 30, 20 years, of course I'm going to be like, oh, I'm binary. I identify as a woman. Yo, you can't make this stuff up, bro. Women should be suing crazy in these states that was allowing this.
So you got this man who R-worded a woman, said he's transgender, R-worded a woman in prison, and then in court, the state forced the prosecution to call him she, her. The recent ruling means that on the stand, those women may be subject to speech policing from their alleged R-word who has opted for self-representation. So this man, while in court, every time that woman who he assaulted says, he did this, that individual can stop them and say, no, you call me she, her. And the court will force that victim to call her assaulter by acronyms or by pronouns that don't fit what they actually did. This is nuts. I'm gonna read a little bit of this. Women who alleged that they were assaulted in women who alleged they were assaulted in California prison by a biological male claiming to be transgender will be compelled to refer to the defendant using she/her pronouns. A Madera County judge ruled last week, further complicating a case centered on crime that was emboldened from the outset by the government. Tremaine Carroll allegedly assaulted multiple inmates while at Central California's women's facility in Chowchilla.
Tremaine. Get the oh my God. You know, whoever that was black.
After securing placement there by self-identifying as transgender. The Transgender Respect Agency and Dignity Act, which took effect in January 2021, allows California inmates to be placed in a facility corresponding with the sex they say they are. Under the law, a prisoner need not be on hormones, have had surgery, or undergo a psychological evaluation to be approved. The government considers their testimony sufficient. Now, in 1990, Carroll was charged with 3 counts of kidnapping for ransom, 2 counts of robbery, and 3 counts of oral copulation in concert by force, ultimately pleading guilty to 2 counts of kidnapping. Several years later, Carroll was sentenced to 25 years to life under California's 3-strike laws after acting as a getaway driver in a robbery. So this individual had already assaulted women, forcing them for oral copulation. Then, upon going into prison, says, you know what, I'm a woman, a criminal, and criminals be knowing some of the laws, believe that, or some of the loopholes to try to make their, reduce their time or whatever they try to do. He found a loophole. Instead of going in with other men that might have bashed his brains in, he identified as a woman, got put in a women's prison, and assaulted multiple women. As a matter of fact, this is the freaking perv's face right here. It says,
yo, bro, you can't make this up, bro. You can't.
This is what Gavin Newsom advocates for. He hates women and thinks that men should be in their sports, allowed to assault them in prison, and allowed to go in their locker rooms as bathrooms. Let me reduce this some so you can see this whole thing.
This nigga.
More details about the brutal assault.
This nigga look like a straight piece of shit.
By a man who identifies as a woman housed in California prison. If you put male offenders into women's prison, women will get assaulted. Now, look at this individual. Caged with my assaulter, female prisoner violated. And you telling me that Halle Berry was lying when she said Gavin Newsom don't care about women? It goes even darker than that. Look at this clip about Gavin Newsom's wife and Harvey Weinstein.
I'm curious, when this began to happen with Harvey Weinstein and then it all unfolded, what went through your mind? What questions did you ask?
It was very personal. My wife was the second person to come out impacted directly by Harvey.
You heard it right. Gavin Newsom's wife, Jennifer Suba Newsom, testifies that she was assaulted by Harvey Weinstein. And her assault happened in 2005. Keep that in mind. 2005, Harvey Weinstein assaulted Gavin Newsom's wife. She testified in the trial. Now check out this news report and you tell me how sick and twisted and crazy this is. And it can't be because of power, because of who she was married to. Check this out.
Jurors in the trial here in L.A. of Harvey Weinstein will be allowed to hear the details of an email sent to Weinstein by the wife of Governor Newsom. Defense lawyers say Jennifer Siebel Newsom sent the email to Weinstein in 2007 when she was dating the future governor, who was then mayor of San Francisco. She wanted advice about dealing with the media amid a sex scandal involving Gavin Newsom. California's first partner is among the dozens of women who have accused Weinstein of sexual assault. Jurors in the trial.
So you heard it right. Newsom's wife, who was assaulted by Weinstein, a couple years later ended up reaching out to him, getting some help from him to be able to handle the media amid Gavin's cheating scandal, where he messed around on her, which is right here. A bi-coastal relationship wasn't the only problem. News later broke that Newsom had cheated on Guilfoyle with the wife of his then campaign manager, Ruby Ripper Tork. Gavin Newsom cheated with the wife of his former aide. So he cheated on his wife with the wife of his aide. Wow.
So point blank period, Gavin Newsom is just a piece of shit. who just be lying, bro. He's a fraud. Brandon Johnson's a fraud. Kamala Harris is a fraud. Jasmine Crockett is a fraud. Chuck Schumer is a fraud. Nancy Pelosi is a fraud. Hillary Clinton is a fraud. Obama is a fraud. Hakeem Jeffries is a fraud. All of them are frauds. They're frauds. They do not care about us, bro. These politicians don't care about us, bro. On both sides, I believe a lot of them don't care. I believe a lot of them are just pieces of shit who just want to steal and come up with new schemes and ways to steal and rob us. That's it, bro. That's what it all comes down to, is how to manipulate the people to get the vote so we can get into the seats. And then once we get into the seats, how can we come up with new ways and new schemes once these run out and these don't work no more? We need to come up with new elaborate schemes, new departments, new something in order to funnel these billions of dollars in here so we can go ahead and get that. You know what I mean? That's all they care about. That's why a lot of them are filthy rich. And we're poor. We're living check to check. We're struggling, you know, just trying to get by. And then they get out here and just lie like it's nothing, bro. And he's one of the big ones. He's one of the biggest ones who just get out here and just lie, bro. And then have the audacity to sit there and say, oh, one of the things I hate is when people lie. I hate when people lie. It bothers me. He's a fucking, bro. That nigga's the biggest scumbag of them all, man. But listen, man, that's the show for the day, man. If you enjoyed the show, hit that like button for me. Also, share this video, comment down below. But more importantly, subscribe to the channel. Help your boy on the road to monetization. I truly appreciate everybody who has hit that subscribe button for me these last 2 videos I posted. I truly do appreciate it. I really, really do, man. I really do. Also, hit that notification bell so you get notified every time your boy go live. Until next time, it's your boy SL550. This is the Never Gonna Lose Again podcast. I'm out.
Millionaire thoughts, billionaire dreams. I know niggas who played ball and gave it up for lean.
Millionaire thoughts, billionaire dreams, but my account in overdraft, I'm about to scream.
Rich man greed,
a poor man prayers.
Every man bleeds,
but look how God made us.
Too many losses, it's only right that we win. Yeah, I made a promise I'm never gonna lose again.